a lot of different things going on in my life between 2 kids, 3 businesses that I run, and multiple side projects. So it is essential that I keep my life very organized, or else I cannot get any of these things done and I would let a lot of things slip through the cracks. Now, if you're anything like me, you probably love to be organized, but maybe you're kind of lazy. It can be a lot of work to be organized. So in this video, the tips that I'm going to share are based on this idea that we want to be organized but not take too much time doing it. So I'm definitely not one of those people who has a really fancy day planner that I spend hours every week decorating. I just don't even have time for that. So I have some very efficient systems that I use to keep everything streamlined while not taking up a whole lot of my time. My first tip for staying organized is to have a master calendar that you use for every appointment that you have. So instead of jotting down a note that says dentist appointment at 1 o'clock or getting one of those slips from the dentist, I like to have one calendar, and for me I use Google Calendar, and I put every single appointment into it so that I can look at it every day and know that that is absolutely everything that I have going on that day. There's no question in my mind of, did I write something down somewhere else? Because I know that I always put the things in the same place. I really like Google Calendar because it syncs between my computer and my phone, and also even with my email, so that if someone emails me about an appointment, there's a little button I can click and it will add it right to my calendar. Another great thing about Google Calendar is that you can make multiple calendars inside of Google Calendar and have each of them be a different color. I like to do this for my work appointments and for my personal appointments, and then also for different things like my content creation calendar for me to plan my YouTube videos. That way I can keep them all nice and organized and separate, but I can also click on multiple ones at the same time so that I can see everything that I have going on for that day. Also, because I have it on my phone, I can add appointments while I'm on the go. So everything gets on that calendar and I know that it is a complete picture of what my day looks like. My second tip for staying organized is to have a separate place where you store all the tasks that you need to do. So this is basically a to-do list, but it's a little bit more structured. Instead of just having one giant laundry list that can be kind of overwhelming, I like to break it down into different projects for different days and also different projects for different areas of my life. For example, I have one list that is a massive to-do list for everything for my online business where I do digital marketing, and then I have another to-do list that is for everything that has to do with my local business, a music school. Aside from those big lists, I also have daily to-do lists. Every evening I write down what I need to get done the next day. These are different than those appointments that I put on my calendar. I don't like to clutter my calendar up with too many different to-do items. These I keep in a different place, normally on Trello, sometimes in my planner, and I can check those off or cross them off as I complete them. My third tip for being organized is to schedule everything. Even those to-dos, okay? Instead of just having them all on a giant list that can be very overwhelming, when I think of them, I like to schedule them onto a specific day. If I think, oh, I need to get my oil changed, instead of just writing it on the bottom of a list, I'll say, when will I have time to get my oil changed? Oh, next Thursday I'm free. So then on my calendar, I'll make a note that I want to get that done on that Thursday. I add it to my calendar as an all-day appointment, which makes it appear above all the other appointments for the day. Then when I get to Wednesday, I take a look at what's coming up the next day and I write down a to-do list including those things. And then I like to delete them so that my calendar looks nice and tidy. My next tip is to use some sort of project management software for those larger projects in your life. While making little lists works great for those random to-dos like your dentist appointment or getting your oil changed or doing your laundry, and the calendar works very well for scheduled appointments, neither of those systems works very well for breaking down large projects. For example, if you wanted to start a business, there is a lot of steps to doing that. So I like to use a software such as Asana to create a project and then break it down into really manageable steps. I can then automatically add each of those steps to my calendar and give it a due date. That way I'll actually be able to reach that big picture goal and complete my project. Tip number 5 has to do with having a more organized mind, because I find that when my thoughts get cluttered up, I can't get anything done. I get so distracted by everything I'm thinking and I just can't have a clear head. My solution for that is something called called morning pages. Morning pages were introduced to me by a girl named Eileen who has a channel on YouTube called Lavender, and she makes videos about being more mindful and living more intentionally and minimalism, and if you like my channel, you'd probably really like hers as well. I'll leave a link down below so you can check her out. But anyway, morning pages are a practice of every day spending some time, normally about 20 to 30 minutes, writing down everything that is going on in your head. So it's basically like a big brain dump where you get all those thoughts out of your head and onto the paper. It really helps you to see exactly what you're thinking, get clear on ideas, and also just stop mulling over the same things over and over again. I found that when I started doing this, my ideas started to get better and better because instead of just thinking about the same things over and over again, I was able to progress on to new iterations that were better than my old ideas. Kind of along with that is my next tip, which is to write everything down. Throughout the day, I always am having so many ideas, so many things that I think I want to do in the future, or things I think of that I need to get done. I don't like to carry my journal with me everywhere I go because it's kind of large and I don't like to scribble in it so much. I want it to be a little bit neater than that. And so I use Evernote to capture all of those random ideas. Evernote, as you probably know, is an app that you can get on your computer or on your phone, and you can store text files or voice files, even pictures, whole web pages, whatever you want. It's kind of like having a big scratch pad all the time that you can stick anything in. I am always creating new notes and adding them to Evernote so that I don't forget those ideas. I know a lot of people like to make voice memos. That doesn't work so well for me. I'm more of a writer. But however you think, you can put it into Evernote and then you can easily access it later from whatever device you're on, and you can search it. So if you just remember you had a thought about something, you can easily search it and find it. My seventh tip is to use routines to be more efficient and to waste less time thinking about what you need to do. Now, there's probably a best way for you to normally do your morning, okay? There's a certain set of things that you need to get done in the morning to have a successful, productive day later on. And if you create a system that you use every day to do them the same way, then you don't have to use nearly as much thought every day to decide exactly what you're gonna do next, and you don't have to waste the time deciding either. So instead of thinking, should I work out today? Or what should I eat for breakfast? If you have a certain way you do things over and over again, then you don't have to use those decisions because decision fatigue is real. The more decisions you make throughout the day, the more tired you will get of making decisions, and by the time you get to the afternoon or the evening, you are not going to feel motivated to get your work done. You're not going to feel motivated to eat a healthy dinner. Save yourself that struggle by having a morning routine. Tip number 8 has to do with your home. People say that a clean home equals a clear mind, and I find this to be extremely true. When my house is messy or cluttered, I cannot think straight. I'm so distracted by all the visual stimuli around me, and I feel so icky about how messy my house is. But when my house is clean, my life feels great. My life feels organized, I feel on top of things, and I feel a lot more motivated to do my work, and when I do my work, I have a much more clear mind to do it well with. Now, the next thing is really obvious, and I know everyone's mom told them this a million times, and you're probably great at it, but I kind of struggle with it, and that is to put things away when you're done using them. You're going to put things away at some point, right? So why not put it away right when you finish using it so that you don't have to look at it cluttering up a surface? When I'm done curling my hair, why do I leave the curling iron there on the table instead of just sticking it in the drawer where it belongs? Then my bathroom looks so much neater. For tip number 10, I like to process my mail as soon as I get it. Personally, I have a P.O. box, so when I go to the post office to get my mail, I like to stand there at the post office and go through my mail, throw away anything that's junk mail, and even pay my bills immediately right there. That way I'm not bringing clutter back into my house that I will later procrastinate on and not get done, but I can just deal with it all right then. Sometimes I do bring the mail home, but if I do that, then I do process it as soon as I get home so that I don't have piles of bills sitting around or payments that need to be processed. I just like to get it out of the way because I know that as soon as I put something in a pile, it will probably be weeks until I actually get around to taking care of it. If you want your space to look more clean and simple, then tip number 11 will help you out. I used to always buy things that were what I thought I wanted, and I would choose colors or patterns that I thought looked pretty, but I don't know about you, but I have a really hard time making things match, and so I'd bring all these different home decor things home or clothes home, and they didn't really look like they belonged in my closet or like they belonged in my kitchen or my living room. It took me a long time to figure out two things. The primary one is default, choose white. So if there is not something that you love that you want to make a statement with, then don't go with a color that you think is pretty good, just go with white. Because white blends into everything else and it doesn't look distracting or cluttery. It will just blend into the background and it won't look messy. By doing that, I now have a lot of white shirts that I can pair with more fancy skirts. I also have white skirts, white pants, things like that. But the biggest thing is things like choosing to paint your walls white or choosing to buy white furniture, because that way you can decorate however you want and it never looks out of order. But along with that, the other thing is to pick a specific color scheme for every room. Now, I am no great interior designer by any means. I am actually really bad at that. But by just choosing a specific color, or maybe two colors, that you want each room to be designed around, you can make every room look a lot more pulled together. For example, in my bedroom, I have a light blue color and I design everything around that. That does not mean that everything in my bedroom is light blue. That just means that that is the highlight color and that every other color that I do buy to go in that room, I want to complement it. It's light blue or peach or white, but it's all these colors with light blue being the focus. And it makes the whole room look way more pulled together even though I do not know what I'm doing at all. And my final tip is to make sure your surfaces are decluttered. This is the main difference between your house that you wonder why it looks so messy even when you clean it up, and pictures that you see on Instagram where everything looks so polished and put together and tidy. The difference is that their surfaces are completely clean. When you clean up your kitchen, you clean up all the things that you see as messes, but you still have your toaster, maybe your blender, maybe your bread maker, maybe your salt and pepper shaker, all out on the counters. But in those pictures you see on Instagram or Pinterest, normally there's very, very little on the counters. There might be one statement appliance, like maybe a toaster oven or maybe a beautiful set of salt and pepper shakers, but there's not 5 different small appliances and there's not a whole bunch of decor for the most part. There are just a couple statement pieces. The reason for this is because the more things there are on a surface, when you look at the surface, your eyes get distracted by those things. So you try to sweep your eyes over the surface, but what happens is you notice this and then you notice this and then you notice this, and it makes your vision very halted. But when the surface is completely clean, then you can look across that surface and it is a smooth sweep of your gaze. Well, thank you so much for watching. That was all the tips I have for today. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to subscribe to my channel. I make new videos like this on topics of lifestyle and entrepreneurship every single week, and I would love to have you join me for the next one. Please give this video a thumbs up and I'll be back next week with another video.